Awesome. So good evening, everyone. I hope you have had a great week. Welcome to the 86th Friday session with College. And my name is Saurabh, and I'm your host today. Today's session is very special, and let me tell you why. Allow me to introduce our guest speaker for today, Kalyan. He is one of the first mentors who taught me UX, right? He is an engineer by education. He has done interesting work while interning at DRDO. You guys can ask about it more when you meet him. And as he was interested in problem solving and design, he joined second batch at UXReactor and worked as a designer and later as a strategist there. But actually, he got very curious about how business works and he wanted to connect it with design, right? So he went ahead and did an MBA through BITS Pilani and grew to be head of global design operations at UXReactor. And now he is currently managing design teams across 3 continents. Personally, I have learned a lot from him about, problem solving and how it works in industry. And while we were talking about conducting this session, we are going to address a very important and pressing challenge, which is basically when designers go to different stakeholders and pitch their ideas or make any recommendation, nobody listens, right? Or there is always some kind of friction there, right? And we have Kalyan with us, who is going to talk about it, who has actually solved that problem in one of his case studies, right? So without further ado, let's dive into today's session. And yes, welcome, Kalyan. I leave the floor to you.
Cool. Thank you, Prasad and Saurabh, for inviting me to this session. So again, I'm personally very excited to be here because of 2 reasons. One, I love teaching and coaching people. Second, I heard a lot of things about this community, how everyone is passionate about learning and growing their careers. And also it's Friday night and still people are not going out, but still in the community now trying to learn something new. Today, I will be sharing, as Saurabh said, one of the key lessons that I learned early in my career at UXReactor. So, which helped me accelerate my career. How do you influence business strategy decisions through design? That is one of the things that I learned from starting at UXReactor. Before we get into the details of things, I want to understand your perspective on some of the questions that I have. Saurabh, if you can help me in facilitating the question survey, that would be good.
Sure. Yeah.
So how much time have you invested in building your UX expertise? You go to formal design education, professional experience that you have, community participation, any courses that you do, boot camps, right? How much time did you might have invested until now in this line of profession?
So if I had the 3 questions, so feel free to answer all 3 questions. And of course, Kalyan will be speaking through the other 2 as well, but yeah.
Yeah. And in your current role, the second question, when you're presenting a finding or a solution, when you're proposing something, how often do you feel your stakeholders overlook or undervalue or implement it with some compromises? Right. And then how frequently do you believe non-UX teams make critical decisions in a product without consulting UX team?
Let's take another 30 seconds.
Interesting.
Come on, guys. 75% participated, 5% more. Awesome. Awesome. So let me release the results. Yeah.
So we'll go one by one, right? If you see for the first one, how much time anyone invested in the expertise, the UX expertise, most people are around 1 to 3 years, right? And then getting into the second question, whether significant compromise the implementation or whether the UX expertise is overlooked or undervalued, is a 88% of people are frequently and sometimes, right? And when you get to a third one where you say whether, I think this is very interesting, right? At least 76% of people say that all the time and often, that UX teams are not involved in the product or business decisions, right? If you look at it, right, we spent years and years in building our expertise, right? But when we propose or recommend solutions, they are not being implemented. If they are being implemented with a significant compromise, right? And without UX teams, critical decisions are being made, right? Now, how do you solve it? How do you, as a problem solver, again, every designer is a problem solver. Now, how do you solve that? How do you fill that gap? Any thoughts? Anyone? How do you fill that gap?
You can raise your hand if you want to speak, and I'll allow.
Achyut, go ahead.
I'm just taking a guess at it. Probably do your whatever research it is and come up with the impact a certain decision would have through that. Be it if it is for the product owners, then it could be in terms of the revenue that they would lose, or if it's a positive recommendation, the revenue that they could gain. And with a few examples, if others in the similar lane would have implemented that and found success.
But are we doing that today?
Not really. Not really. Not
Why?
really. So most of the times, like from my experience, product owners can't speak for everyone, but most of them are like, when they plan for a product, it's mostly about going to the website, selecting features, and then, this is a product that I want, let's go. I hardly see a niche that they want to focus on or the problem that they would like to solve. So considering that, then if it is that way, then most of the decisions are actually taken already. So it's like, we want it to happen like this. So Amazon does it like this. So let's also do it like that. But often what they don't see is for Amazon to do something that is happening right now, they have stepped up a ladder and came that way.
Got it. Cool.
Pooja, you want to go next? You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
She's not able to unmute herself, I'm assuming.
Now you can.
Thank you. I was just typing.
Hmm.
Okay. So, this is just my thought. Probably as a designer, sometimes we are not able to, justify our own decisions, like not giving logical reasoning or rationales why this decision will implement business, sales or business goals. And even we are not sometimes able to able to make stakeholders understand about how we are thinking from users' point of view and how this will impact business. So probably that gap, both from both ends, we are not able to match her. And many a times they also don't have time that much to invest. There are few quick decisions and they have to make, and we don't have time to test it or, go through it. So that is the main issue, I guess. So if we, as a designer, if we point out few important things, the stakeholders, they might, give us the chance and take the decision. Okay, we'll follow the process or something. This is what I feel. And of course, I go with Achyut also. Like other products are working like this, so our product also will work like that. That kind of mentality.
Got it. Cool.
Kranti, is it okay if we skip you for now because there's going to be a very juicy discussion that's going to come up? Go ahead, Kalyan, you can keep moving.
Sure. So let me share my screen. Let me tell my story, how I solved this problem, right? This is one of the first projects that I worked on 9 years back, right? So again, there is this client came to us, who is third largest tech-based digital media company based out in Singapore, funded by renowned VC firms, right? Their main business is you take an image, they make more religious videos and post it on YouTube. And how they do is they take a image, they take a template, take an image, and use an audio. So use an audio to create a video, right? So most of them, if you think multiple things, let's take, they can use this video, they can use Ganesha's image and use a different audio. That's how you run a different permutation and combination. You can make thousands of videos with the simple assets that you have. And now once they create these videos, they publish it in social media, YouTube, and then that's how they generate revenue, right? Let me show you a video how overall it looks like.
Kalyan, you can share your audio.
That's fine. We can imagine a song in the background. We can't hear you now. Kalyan, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry. So what I'm saying is you can use the same video, same template, different audio and different image and create hundreds of thousands of videos, right? And anybody can take a small guess how many views that this video has. Small guess.
You can type it in if you want.
Yeah. Go ahead, Pooja. Jasmine, you can go ahead. Or you can type in. Okay, somebody typed in. 5 million, 2 to 5 million. Okay. So it is nearly 150 million views. Just this video. Right? So again, that's where they looked at that particular model and say, hey, can we, if we go at it, if we go at it, if we do it at scale, that's how we grow our business. That's where one of the co-founder of this company came to us as a sponsor and say, hey, can you create a software that will help us create videos at scale? Right? Then once that is given, what we did, we went to their place and looked at, again, did some research. And what we did when we went to place is very interesting, because while we are here going to their client's place, we thought, okay, this is a normal project because they're asking us to create a software, we'll go create software. But when we hit the ground reality, when we went to their office, when we saw these things, right? These are the hard disks. Think these are hundreds of hard disks, songs from 1950s, without no naming, without what format you don't know, whether those are working or not, you don't know, right? They are now using all these hard disks and then connecting into the system, and now creating from this system, now they're creating all the data out of it, right? Take an example, they need to listen the entire song to write it, to just document the track name. then the album. They need to see when the release date is. They need to see what music, what actors, who is the music director, who is the artist. So that's where you get into, there's a lot of complexity, and that's where now it is taking so much time for them to do it. Right? So that's where now, once they do this, now what they are doing is now someone like an editor who creates videos, right? Take this information. If let's take, if there's a Shah Rukh Khan's birthday coming in a month, what they will do is they will take these videos and try to create videos around Shah Rukh Khan because his birthday is coming up. Think as an editor or a curator who curates the video need to pick the songs from the hard drive and pick data from here and the song from somewhere else, images from the online, and now they need to create a video. Right? That's where the co-founder who came to us has this idea of, hey, can you centralize everything in one particular software so that we can automate everything? We said, yes, we can do it. Right? That's where we started designing the MVP, where we are started with where we are trying to take this all the data and creating and mapping it in a database. But on the side, what happened is some of our team members are doing a research. They went to the office, and one thing is very interesting. What they identified is the cost to make a video is the cost is $25 for one video. And if you another data point that we also realized, revenue that making on a video is $3.5 dollars per video per month. Right? Unless it's a viral video, it have multi-year life cycle. But if it's a normal video, in a year or so, it's slowly the views getting down. Right? That means for them to become profitable, they need to spend 6 to 7 months on a single video. Right? And whatever the designing, we are very excited before we went there. And because we said, hey, with the design that we are doing, we are creating efficiency of 10 to 20%. That means we are reducing the cost of creating a video from $25 to 20%. Right? And you still make a revenue. And because the cost reduces, we'll get it in 4 to 5, 10 to 20%. We are very, very excited. And then to test the designs that we did, we went to their office again. And this is where we got a kind of a realization, a shock. What is happening? We heard from one of the revenue department person. So this is in 2014, right? This is in 2014. The revenue per video is around $37. And it is over the time, because of the competition that is increasing, because a lot of people are doing religious videos, a lot of companies are getting started to create volume of videos. Let's take you and I also go there and create a simple video, and we also get the views. This is where people are becoming a creator generation. That's the starting point. Now, what they estimated is in 3 years down the line, the revenue that you make per video comes down to $37 to around 40 cents or $4, right? 40 cents per month. When you look at a year, it comes to around $4 to $5, right? So that's a big problem. Even though now, if you see, even though if you reduce the cost by 10, 20%, like we reduce to $20 per video, you're still not able to make profit. What will happen then, right? Forget about profit, right? They won't even survive, right? They won't even able to scale, right? Because the cost is increasing. The money that you make is, again, might be peanuts when you are 26. They might survive in next year. They might survive in the coming year, but in the third and fourth coming years, I think it will be very hard for them to do. right? What we can do it now, right? Either we can say, right, we can keep quiet and say that, okay, these guys are paying us, we'll do design and we'll get out of it once it is. Or we'll tell them, hey, there is the problem with the approach, right? We need to try, we need to go and change it. If you're not going to change at some point, right? At some point you will die, or at some point you will not grow, your growth will stagnate, right? Now, what do we do? Because when we go there, we'll tell to the co-founder, say that, hey, this is what you need to change things and it will take extra 6 months. What do co-founder think? Okay, we are trying to get 6 more months business out of it, right? Because the co-founder has a different vision, right? Just creating a software is done, right? I will build my efficiency, I will build my revenues. But the reality is not that. Now, what do you do? What do we do? Any thoughts? How do you solve this problem? How do you solve it? Achyut, go ahead.
Like if the constraint is that, we need more 6 months because initially we figured out, we thought something else is the problem. Is it a solution that we can tell them directly that, see, because even in the first place, they came up asking, we need a software to automate, but why to automate? This is coming from a revenue person who actually has shown the graph and how it's going to be. So if we communicate to them that, see, just building a software won't be enough. This is the real problem that needs to be addressed. And this is what you are at stake going down the line 3 years.
Correct.
So to fix that, maybe we need this time.
Correct. But how do you solve it?
Okay.
Let's take they gave us 6 months time, right? How do you solve it? How do you bring down the cost? Or how do you do it? How do you make the company grow? How do you increase the revenue?
Go ahead, Kranti.
Go ahead, Kranti.
So now, since you mentioned, since the real problem is like revenue per video over time, so that has dependency over like YouTube algorithms and competing with, competing with other creators and all those things. It's about figuring out, like prioritizing the problem first. And so now here, it is not the application which solves the problem. So the approach should change. So that's why, like, initially it is about designing the application. Now it is about maintaining that, solving further revenue per video over time. So now the problem, there is a different problem that needs some more time to solve the problem. But how we do it is, again, like we should research and figure out, like, from the research, how to solve it, like.
Okay. Pooja?
Like from the research, testing few solutions and see what, if that works.
Everyone is telling me, okay, go do research, this is like government, we'll go to government, okay, we'll do one particular team, they will go survey it, right? But how do you, if you see, how do you, with the different variables that we have, how do we reduce the cost or increase the revenue? Because if you see, again, I will give you a hint. The external factors, the revenue that will go and drop, it is out of our control. We can't say that the 40 cents, it is an external factor that we can't control, right? Think, what can we control? Akash?
Yeah, I don't have an idea, but I just want to confirm, is it related to, service design problem? Because I've heard that maybe that topic that is related to that, or maybe you can use that service design thing to solve that problem.
Will again, we solved it through design, UX design.
Okay. I think I have no idea.
You can take a stab at it. What is the worst thing that will happen?
Nobody's able to answer it. We know for sure nobody can answer it, right? I mean, that's why we are talking about this topic. So you can't go wrong.
Correct. Gagan?
I'm just going to give it a try.
Mhm.
The one thing which is within my control, I suppose, is the quality of the work, right? Quality of video. If I
Mhm.
compete in a market which where we are losing revenue against the competition, I can actually have more views and therefore increase the revenue.
Mhm. But go ahead. Sorry, complete your thought.
Wait. Please go ahead.
No. Again, as you said, to make quality videos, it will take time. Same thing, right? For us to make quality designs, or we say, hey, quality takes time.
So the question is, how do you tell your client that you need additional time for, to really crack the problem?
Think they gave us the time, right? What do we do to help company grow?
Right. So I think there are two sides of the problem. One was the way the data was stored and putting it all together and indexing it in a proper way, right? So that it can be used in the future. Now, the second side of the problem is the competition in the market. Now, you might have the data which is indexed and you can upload them in the, whichever revenue generation platform. But the second side of the problem is that, if it's not good enough and you're not getting the hits, you're not going to get the revenue coming in. So I think that problem needs to be addressed in two folds. One fold, you say, I got my problem solved. The other side is like, if you don't solve this problem, you're still not solving the larger problem. I don't know. I'm just thinking
That's fine. Simran?
Hey, Kalyan.
Hey.
Since you mentioned about the variables, right? The thing that we can control is time, is what I think. So probably going ahead and building, two ways of going about this. One is you show how make probably a small prototype of how this particular thing, like you shorten the process of how a video can be produced, let's say in 3 hours. Right? Then we show a prototype of that entire process happening, and the prototype is something that we have control since we have design software, and we can sort of simulate what the actual thing would look like. And then once we get them sort of convinced with that, then take it into development and go ahead and scale. That way we get a buy-in, right? And that is one approach that I would try to solve this.
Got it. So let's take, we went with a prototype and everything. What prototype do we go with? Where do we change the process? Again, I will give you a hint. Where do you change the process so that you will help a company make more revenue?
Yeah.
I will give you a hint. Okay. Do you want to go ahead before I give you a hint?
Yes, so I feel that now looking at this problem, I realized that this came to us 10 years back, where we have similar solutions what we have today. So if we say, for example, that we are resolving this 10 years back, for example, important thing is that we have to listen to all audios to understand that which are the ones which will go with the majority. So if as you showed, it was a religious video that we saw, and maximum number of people would view it. And supposing I segregate these videos, depending on the kind of videos which will go first, the majority will view, then I can, segregate like that. So first release the videos which are for the maximum number of people who would view those kind. And then go for the lower ones, which you like gave an example of Shah Rukh Khan and all that, you know, where slowly the fan following will decrease. So first release the videos which have the maximum following.
Got it.
This is one method I thought.
Got it. Let's take, again, I will give you a hint, but let's take, a lot of people are doing, a lot of companies are out there. They also take up if something is, our thing is working, they can also create it. If you are going on a quality, right? So where we have a highest following. Again, let me give a hint, right? This is the hint, right? Where you have a PM who assign a project, then there is editors who will be QAing the final product. There are curators who creates the videos, and there are QA people who do the final quality checks and publish it. So this is the hint. So these are the salaries which we got, we collected from their, from the company. And this is the hint. Now, can you take a stab at it to see how we grow, or how we grow the revenue, or how we make sure that whatever solution that we provide will help company to grow? So today, again, getting into deeper into it, today what is happening is, for every 1 PM, there's only 3 editors that a PM can support, right? And for every 3 editors, every 1 editor can only support 5 curators. Right? Go ahead, Achyut.
So, like curation and editing, if these two are the things which are handled on a software level, like to a certain level, I mean, like if those roles are, kind of wiped out, sorry, I don't have another word. So that might significantly reduce the cost per video. Because I'm sure it's not just now, even like 10 years ago also, there have been machine learning algorithms which are really good at what do you call curation.
Correct.
And sorting and things like that. So maybe some implementation of that into streamlining the process and, reducing the workmen could be one solution, maybe.
Got it. So if you see, let's take we remove the editors and curators from the system. Let's take that example, right? But still you are reducing the time to create a video only, right? But how do you, because see, the data that you are getting from 1950s, 1960s, where all the data is distorted, you don't know even whether that particular audio or anything is working or not, right? Now you need to collect images from the internet, right? If you, let's take, remove editors and curators, and you have only PMs and QAs in the system, now how do you run it? Any thoughts? Again, take a stab at it. I would say, again, this is what at least I learned. You can share an opinion. Again, it's a safe environment. We'll lose nothing. Go ahead, Jasmine.
I'm just, this is a wild guess. Is there a turnaround time that is a hindrance by any chance?
What is that? Can you repeat it?
Turnaround time, like only when curators curate, the editors will be able to edit. And there is a time gap. So somewhere we can fill in those gaps, probably. Because only after the chunk is getting over, the editors will be able to edit, and then the curators and the QA would be able to finally release it.
Correct.
So are we trying to like minimize that gap in some way?
I think time gap wise, I think there is you at least got to that particular direction. But again, time gap wise, because they have one editor, think this way, right? You have 40 hours in a week and you have only 3 curators to manage, right? So the time gap might not be very high in a transition when you're giving and sharing and everything. But time is one of the variable that we can solve this problem. Gagan, go ahead. So again, it's also a risk, right? Let's take, if you're creating things at scale, now let's take if you shortcut anywhere, let's take if you bring in Christian music to, let's take Hindu God, right? You know what will happen, right? Again, there's a risk, there's a time, there's also no cost, and no, there is a risk. Gagan, go ahead.
Can you just explain what's the present process? So I mean, what's the process flow?
So from think this way, right? So let's take if there's an event or something they want to launch. So PM creates and assign it to an editor, right? Editor think this person know how things. Again, think editor as a lead for curators, right? So curators are the people who creates it and then send to the editors, and from an editor, editors will be now looking at QAing all the video and sending it to the QA team, and then QA team will be QAing at their particular end and then publishing it.
I mean, I don't have the exact solution, but I think there is some solution within the process. I think the way the process is presently run, that can be optimized. I'm not quite sure how. I think solution could be, if we look at, well, while we do the process mapping, if you could reverse something, which might be like a duplication. I don't know.
Okay. So what is that process? What is that? Again, yeah, you are there. What is that process?
I didn't get the process flow actually. but I know there is some kind of a duplication taking place, and or there's, you know, some sort of a redundancy somewhere that can be knocked out.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure, but I think somebody.
Got it. Jasmine?
Yes, so yeah, even I thought it could be about process, because editors have a particular skill, even curators are skill based. So we can have some interns in between who can at least listen to the audio, find out which is good, which is bad, segregate it language wise, or any other method that they have a particular way of doing it. And then it goes to the editor, because that will be time saving for editors also. And the next role. So we can have some mediators in between who can do the, which is a job which is not, does not require too much of skill.
Got it.
Like listening to the audio. Yes.
Got it. Again, your suggestion is bring in interns and try to do it. Do you think the quality goes up, or the time that editors need to spend more on that particular video? Do you think quality goes up or quality goes down when you add more people into the system?
But at least we are saving on a job. Supposing now I have to get an audio to understand which language it is, probably that's okay for an intern to do. I can at least segregate it on the base of language.
Would you trust the intern with the future of your company? Wrong song, wrong picture, and tomorrow you got lawsuits on you. Would you trust an intern to fix that, to do that? I mean, think about it. The less money you pay to the individual, the more risk you put on yourself.
Yeah. Achut?
So if interns is the wrong word, then anybody who has a lower skill, right? I mean, we don't need editors to understand which song it is or which genre, we can segregate that way at least. I mean, yeah.
Possibly. I think the challenge is the more people you have, the more people you need to coordinate. So how do you coordinate one guy? So smaller teams tend to be more productive because you have less coordination and they're more execution oriented. The larger your team gets, the more you need to coordinate. So the costs, and the more you coordinate, the more things are likely to fall between the cracks.
Correct. Because same thing, right? Risk is more. Again, we are saving time, right? Again, you said, let's go with the hypothesis. We'll save time. We'll save money because we are reducing the cost, but the risk is more. Let's take again, anyone, right? Anyone at why do all of us get paid, right? More and more when we get to the senior, right? That's where when you keep your, as Prasad said, you're keeping future of your company. If one video go wrong into the YouTube and post it, right? As I said, the risk is more, right? How do we solve all three variables? How do we time, money, and also risk? Go ahead, Achyut.
Yeah. So once again, I'm somehow banking on the software to take care of quality a little bit, because in the video that you have shown, it's a simple process. Like there is a template and there is another thing that goes on to it, and there is an audio. From what I understand, and you also kind of stressed on it, that it's taking a lot of time for them to, pull out that database, the relevant one. So is it possible that because there, if the quality is going wrong, like you said, for one God's video, there is another audio playing, can the quality assurance person be responsible there, either in labeling the unsorted database or making sure that the right thing is coming? Because from what I understand, until editing and curation is done, QA person wouldn't be having such a heavy task on his hand. His or her hand. So can they be put into the first process while the database is being pulled up? So that once that is set, rest of the software will take care of a lot of quality, and anyway, it is doing fast. It's a templated work. That's
Again, I would give you a half high five because you're a little bit there. Again, half high five, give it. So you are a little bit there, but still, again, as I said, right, these are thousands and millions of songs, right? And they need to listen every song manually and say that whether this is right or wrong. Now think somebody sitting there doing all the songs, and you're not even creating QAing and anything, right? Because you can't come and QA the videos that are created and ready to be published because you're spending all of your time in cleaning up the database.
I'm thinking of solutions, but all my solutions are actually adding more revenue in the first, are adding more cost to the company in the first place. And I'm not sure whether they will be able to spend it. Like, for example, Shazam or something is there. It can listen to music and it will detect. So something in the back end, if it is doing automatically, like listening, sorting in the Excel sheet or wherever it is, then that should also do the job. I'm thinking of that's where I think automation can help in that area. If pulling things from the database, unsorted database or unlabeled database is a problem, but that involves cost.
Got it. Pooja?
Actually, I had the same point, like sorting the database so that and filtering it and getting the correct song that might save the time. And and already now for like 2-3 years they have been working. So they already, the editors and curators, they like, I don't know this, but as per the film background, I can say the editors and curators can, like, one person can do the same job and get it done. So that way this time will be also saved, and they already know about the cultural differences in India. So that way we can manage to save time and save the, like, salaries. And like if 4 people are working, then 2 people are working, that way can be done.
Got it. Gagan?
So I was just thinking, what are the few things that we can automate? Can you help me with
that? What are things that you can automate? Again, it depends. Again, this is today, even if you type a prompt, right? You get an entire video again with multiple integration of multiple AI, you can do it. But I think this is 2014. What do you think that we can automate that?
So this was, again, I do not know exact solution to the problem, but this is what my reasoning is. So I would perhaps look at areas that can be automated, which means if there's any repetitive jobs or we've got the capability of figuring out right at the onset who is supposed to take up this job, or even if there is a validation that needs to be done. So I'm thinking once you get the job, rather than putting it into a sequential work, which increases the overall time, I should look at a parallel functioning, which is somehow this automated system should look at the work and then send it out to various teams to either validate or work or something to this effect. And that would reduce the time factor and the efficiency would go up. Somewhere there, this is what I'm thinking.
Got it. I would take
Kalyan, you have about 10 more minutes, time check.
Okay, cool. Ramya, you want to quickly share your thought?
Yeah, sure. So from my understanding, since the problem is most of the time is spent in listening to the existing songs in the database. Instead of, and that's where most of the time is going, and that is the problem area. Instead of relying on that, because the data is not sorted, what if they could, subscribe to an existing library of songs where agencies tie up with an agency or somebody where you can rent it out. So the cost you pay for renting out something like that would be much lesser than the time cost which is involved in people listening to the thousands of songs and then curating it and sorting it out. So that was my thought.
Got it. Cool. Let me get to it. What again, the solution is again process QA. That's where I said actually will give you a half high five. Is if you see again all the information coming from 1950s, 60s, again, even though you digitize and keep it in database, you don't know about its appropriateness, right? Today, what is happening is now someone creating it, they are creating is now they need to listen to a song, right? Because it's not tagged. Nothing is there. You need to listen to, or if it's a 6-minute song, they will listen to a song. They need to check the quality, whether there's a distortion or whether it is working. They need to now name it. Let's take, I want to do song on Shiva. Now that is also not there. So for some songs that will be there, some songs that will not be there. Then there is a category now, whether that is a religious or whether there is a movies, whether there is something, right? What format that the song have. Right? Same thing with the images. Quality, they need to look at the quality, they need to look at the format, resolution, right? And what category that they fall. Same thing with the animation templates, right? Again, some of the animation templates might not fit for religious videos. Some of the animations might not fit for the movies, right? So that's where now then the fourth step of QA is a completed video, right? So if you see, the problem starts with you're getting a bunch of non-organized data, right? And now you're trying to make a video, right? One thing as a process change, if you control quality at input and quality at output, you will able to, now what will happen, I will also tell you, right? So let's take, you got a song, right? As Ramya, you said, we'll try to bring in from internet, whatever, and try to automate it. Gagan, that's what you said. We'll try to automate this process, right? You might not get to 100% quality, right? You might get to a 50%, right? How do you do the next 50%, right? The first time, it is a progressively you'll do it, right? The first time, once you look at a song, let's take you are making a song on Shiva. Now you're taking that song. Now, if this quality is right, that means you know that the song is right. That in the lifetime, you don't need to check that song because it's already QA'd, right? And the image, let's take from a database, you're trying to create the song. And now you said, as a human, as a QA person, you said the image is good. It doesn't have any, again, any damages on the images, right? Animation, hey, animation is working fine, right? Again, animations and this take the one that we saw with the artis and everything, those are working, right? So once, let's take this QA is done, right? Only over the time, there's only one QA that you need to do, right? Because today, what is happening is the editor is spending time in looking at the song, right? Whether that is on, let's take there is a issue on song. He needs to again send it back to curator. Now curator needs to do it. Same thing with the image, with the animation. Let's take if there's only editor is looking at only the completed video, right? Not doing this, right? What you're trying to do is you're bringing the time of 30 minutes per video to a 3 minute per video, right? That's where now you're bringing the cost down, because it starts with you don't have a quality of data at input, right? But a lot of times again, whatever that we discussed, we are looking at the quality at the output. But if we control quality at input, output, that's where you reduce the time. Now, how does it impact, right?
Kalyan, could I just quickly clarify one
Go
thing?
ahead, Prasad.
So can you go back?
1 minute. Yeah.
So you said we focused on QA, but why did you focus on QA? Why was this part important? Because I don't think we were able to understand that. Why QA? Why not some other part of the process?
So is question to me, Prasad?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, if you look at it as an editor, right? The most time that editor is spending today, again, we'll come 1 minute, I will go back to this. So today, if you see as an editor is spending, again, have 3 curators under him. He's only spending, he's only able to give the time to curators only for 3 people, right? Because there's no quality at input while you're creating it. Let's take now you have a quality at input that you know for sure that the assets that you're taking, that you're creating, you're reducing the time. Now, as an editor, rather than I'm spending time with 3 curators, I can spend with 20 curators, right? So that's where the QA process is coming there, where it is helping you make the editor's job more productive with managing more curators. That's where, as a curators, they will create more videos with less time, because you don't need to worry about the quality, and that's how you scale also the volume.
But don't you take more time in checking the quality at each stage? You need people there, right?
For
in your next slide,
Correct.
you're proposing that you check the quality at each stage, which means you need a person to check the quality of the song. You need to check the quality. You need to do a quality checker for the image separately, and then animation separately, and then completed video. Together, you are in fact maybe using 4 person hours to entirely check the quality. I'm just thinking, if you're doing a QA at every segregated set, that's still an increased resource, right? Isn't it?
Correct. But here you are looking at only at the completed video, because whereas the other case, you are also looking at saying that whether this quality is good and everything individually, right? But here, let's take somebody creates a video, already creates a video at a completed video. Now you're saying that, okay, here in the completed video, the audio is good, the video is, the image is good. Now, once you do for one particular thing, you don't need to create, go back there and do it. Let's take 1 million, right? Let's take today, if we sit with 1 million and 1 million assets and try to do the QA, we might not be able to do it. Rather than what we are saying is today, whatever videos that we create, we will do QA at output so that it will tell to the database that this is an authentic and the quality is met. That's how from an output, you are also sending back that message to the database that this particular assets are good. And
so what you're getting to, Kalyan, sorry to interrupt, but then what I think crisply you're getting to is the check of quality of a finished product is going to be much higher in cost when compared to the quality check of the raw resources, which are, or the components which are getting into making that entire product. Thus, you're reducing relatively a lesser cost rather than working on a complete video, and you then and there work on the elements which become, frame or become that video. Is that what we are not making the cost zero or something? We are reducing the cost. We deploy people at song quality check level, image quality check level, animation cost quality check level. It reduces the cost of remaking the entire video. Is that what you're getting to?
Could I clarify?
Go ahead.
I think what Kalyan is trying to say is, in the past, no matter what, however many videos you make, you would do all these 4 verifications regardless. But in the new system, what happens is once you create a video and you evaluate a song, you don't re-evaluate it again. Okay. So now the number of evaluations have gone from 4 to only 1. So you do the song only once and that's in your database. And then after that, it's verified no matter what. Okay. So you are reducing the dependency of those 3 guys that, doing the verification of 1, 2, 3, and 4. You are only doing 4 now. And then 1, 2, and 3, you're doing only once.
Okay.
Whereas in the past, if you make 10 songs using the same assets, you will have to evaluate everything 10 times.
Correct. So what will also happen with that, right? Once you evaluate it, over the time, you don't need a human, as again, somebody said, Achyut said, that you don't need someone to create it because you automated the product because your input is right. And if as a PM, I come and say that, hey, go create, because there's a Republic Day coming in, go create some videos for Republic Day. Now, because everything is right, it will automatically create the videos. That's how you scale it. Right. Then again, at some point of time, editors, curators might not be there because all your 1 million songs are already QA'd and are the right assets. Go ahead, Achyut.
Yeah, so that's actually amazing to know this. So I'm actually getting it out. Does it also mean that ongoing tomorrow, because you said independence videos, going ahead, probably the permutations and combinations might change on the level of maybe image or song in one of the 3 variations, like I can play around with animation, image, and songs. So could it also be that later on completed videos quality assurance will also come down significantly because my assets that are upon which my final product is being built on itself is on a great quality. So later on, the last overall quality time also might reduce. Is it right?
Yes.
Is that possible?
Yes. Yes. Because again, same thing, right? Let's take we are trying to clean up everything. And tomorrow, if somebody says, hey, go create it because now you have everything there, right? You can create the overall quality also the time will be reduced even more.
Thank you so much, Kalyan.
Right. I think what's the impact is, again, this is where again we started journey with them around April, and this is the first module, the ingestion, where we got this millions of data and try to create a database. So once we create the 10 to 20% efficiency that we built, the number of videos that they are creating went up a little bit. But once we implement the QA process that we have, they shoot it up and think there's a 60x of videos that they're creating. That means in a day, they are creating 60 videos, they are able to create 3,600 videos per day. Right? Which solves two problems. You create volume of, because a lot of competitors are coming in, right? So you have this system, robust system, where you create volume out of it, and you publish them, and you will be on everybody's face, right? That's the first part. And second part, you brought down the cost of the video, because if you see, previously they are making tens of videos a day. Now we are making them with the streamlining of this process. Now we are making them to do 3,600 videos. Again, simple math, right? Today, if you're spending $100 in making, let's take 1,000 videos, you're spending $100 today, but you're making 3,000 videos, right? That's where your cost came down, time came down, the risk, because you QA'd everything that goes out until the system is robust. All three of them are taken care of: time, money, risk. Any questions, thoughts? Go ahead, Saurabh.
So this is amazing. I am also looking at this case study firsthand today. So this is interesting because what you are doing is, by looking at just completed video, you are mapping, I mean, doing the quality assurance, and you are labeling correctly the input things, right? Songs and all. So what you are doing is, you are doing all the inputs automation friendly for accuracy, so that tomorrow you won't have to worry about QA at all.
Correct.
I mean, for those assets. So that is very insightful model, actually.
Correct. And one thing also, how do we scale? One thing also is, you can create, how we create as a variations as designers. You can create, because you can play with all your input is there. Your number of versions that you create for a single theme also goes up. Right? I can use the same animation template with Ganesha symbol. I can use 20 animation symbol with single Ganesha with multiple songs. Now that's how, because all quality are there, that's how you get to a 60x. One click, you get multiple variations. Go ahead, Pooja.
So I have a question, Kalyan. Like, as you mentioned earlier, that there are multiple people who are doing the same job.
Correct.
Right. So, as we say, like, when the demand increases, supply decreases. So, if there are multiple people doing the same thing, how will we know that our strategy and our business will grow up if we do these changes? How can we, think on those parts, or maybe come up with solution, and we know that these are working? Like, we have done all this, like, but now other people are also doing.
Correct.
Will we know our products are more visible?
Correct. So one thing is, if you see the volume that we are creating with the system, this is a proprietary for this company. They are able to create volume of things. Let's take same thing, right? I keep giving demo sessions, right? Or I keep posting in LinkedIn. Let's take that example. Consistently with a volume and everything, right? And someone else might be doing once or twice in a month, right? Who will be in the face of people, right? So you are building brand, right? You are, again, their thing is not about the quality, right? So again, they also do quality, is a different model, right? But still, now they are looking at a volume, so that you are the face of people every time. Let's take tomorrow, let's take, you go and type in, let's take, now we are getting Dasra, you go type in, hey, Durga songs, Aarti songs. Now, because you have a volume, say 500, 600 songs for this company, your results will show up. Because you are playing with
Won't it be little bombarding on, like, just generally asking, like, sometimes overdone things, and people, say, get bored with this some particular kind of, because every time then like using the same template but changing the image, So people want to see new, like nowadays, like every time. So won't it affect that mindset?
Correct. So that's where you are using, you don't have some templates, right? You have multiple templates, right? Animation templates, songs. That's what I'm saying. There's a million songs, right? There's a hundreds of templates. There are thousands of images. Now, if you do the math of permutation combinations, you can create uniqueness out of it. Right? Again, keep updating, right? People, creators keep, let's take the same song. There might be a new song that is coming for, let's take Durga. Now we'll update it because you're buying it from new people. The new content coming in, the new templates will come, the freshness will come, you'll create it because you have a system to scale. You're building a system that will scale for everything.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Kalyan.
Saurabh, how much time do I have? Oh, already done.
Time's up. Yep.
Okay, sorry. So one thing is how also, again, how also do you guys do it, right? I think there's a message. Okay. My advice for everyone, again, take it step by step. One thing that I learned over my career, nothing is a sprint. It's a marathon, right? You take it like a marathon. Again, it's a longer game, right? For me to get to this point, so it took me 5 years, right? But again, do I get overnight in the fifth year? No, it took me time slowly to experiment with multiple things. How do you do it, right? That's how you get there. First part is predict finances. When I say predict finances, let's take, we go to a restaurant, right? Or to a coffee shop. So take their pricing menu and see how much cost that it will take for them to make a coffee, right? And think how much charge is it, right? It's a simple thought process, right? Or reverse engineer stuff. Say that, hey, this is the cost that I am paying, how much it might cost, how much the salaries of the people will be. Try to add up them and try to see how much cost that actually that particular dish or a coffee will take. Right now, see how much profit margin that they are making, and play with numbers. Right, say that, hey, if I reduce a number of people that makes coffee, or if I reduce the quantity that I'm giving, can I reduce the cost? Right, simple. No need to share with anyone. Just run those costs. Right, because again, for me, a lot of people that I meet, like Pani Puri, which is most everybody eat in India, they say that, hey, we'll make around 6,000 to 7,000 a day, and try to, if they say that, you try to reduce the cost, you know how much puri will make and other things will make, only one person is making it, right? Predict those finances, right, as a mindset. Second is get comfortable with Excel, right? Starting with Excel, again, whenever you do your designs or when you're writing pros and cons, try to also look at different numbers. Say that, hey, if I go with this particular approach, what is the cost that I save for, or what is the impact that I increase, or do I increase something? Let's take, we create something, say that, okay, by this particular approach, the training costs go down, right? And again, that is one, but get comfortable with Excel. Do it as your personal finances, right? Take, say that, hey, this is the salary, this is how I spend. Now this is, go estimate it, say that, okay, tomorrow, if this is how my cost is increasing by month to month, now by end of the year, this is what I need to make. Get comfortable with Excel. That's it, right? Third part is more anchor your actions to your org business. That means every action that you take, how it impacts the business, right? So again, that means whatever today you are designing stuff, always think about, hey, how it will add for my business value, how it will add for my revenue for the business, right? That's where now you will start understanding by, again, once you start practicing it, right? All three of them, you get into that mindset of how do you do it. At day one, do I get it right? No. Day two, no. Right? Keep doing it. Again, you go now talk with the stakeholders, say that, hey, this is what I think. They might shoot you down. Okay, you learn the whatever rationale that they give. Right? Now you learn from it. Next time you tighten it up. Now go at it again. That's it. Any questions, thoughts? Go ahead, Pooja.
Kalyan, just guide us, like not everyone is thinking from the mindset of business or, you know, the numbers basically. So how to get there? Like, because not everyone comes with a background of learning, like they have learned commerce or they have learned about business management or anything, or finances or something. They come with different background. So how will we, like, you know, get into that mindset?
Got it. So one thing is, again, foundationally, again, there's a foundation. Once you need to get into business mindset, you need to think that businesses are there to make profit. That's the core thing, right? By creating value for users, because users are the people that will pay for your product and services, right? So this is the foundation to it. Always think, okay, businesses are there to make profit, and then providing the value to the users. That's the first part. And the second part is start as small as it, right? Let's take, hey, you go negotiate, right? We negotiate with people, right? You'll understand even small as negotiation, right? You say, hey, somebody said 100. Now you said, hey, it's $80, whatever. But still, now you're saving. If that person gives you $80, now you still save the 20. Right? The action that you took saved you 20. Let's take somebody might have said that, okay, I will not negotiate. I will take $400. Right? As small as those things. And even, right, we, as I said, go to a restaurant or try to say that, okay, what will be the cost? Right? We know, let's take what is the rent in that area. You can go and ask people, say that, hey, what is the cost of this particular shop or cost of whatever, right? And try to say that, okay, how do you reduce it? Or how do you estimate it? Right? Estimate the cost and try to detect it. That's where I'm saying it's a slow process. Right? That's where I'm saying it took me 5 years to get there. Right? So that's where I'm personally intrigued about how business runs. That's where I did my MBA.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Kranti.
So it's a great session, Kalyan. Thank you so much. And I have one question regarding since we spoke about predict finances.
Correct.
So in a product environment, like I mean, product-based company, like where I'm currently working now, it's always about time. Time is the cost. I mean, every time. So if even in while solving particular business problem, if we are coming up with few edge cases which product managers are not talking about, like they will put it aside saying, okay, you can't quantify as a, I mean, ROI now, like let's park it aside because due to development constraint or time, let's keep it aside. So in that space, like in that context, like how can we quantify our solutions, because we don't have data, one thing. Like if I mean, obviously if there is some data available for our solution, we can back it up, back it with that. So otherwise, how can we convey that, like it will bring value to the business? So that's my question. Thank you.
Correct. I think one thing is, let's take the different cases, right? One thing, if you have data, this is a very different story, right? Because currently whatever we did, we have a data. We went and asked for it, right? We are very curious. Again, these are not the sessions that we did. We just casually went their office and say, hey, what do you think this is? Right? What do you think about this? They casually shared when we are having, right? So taking the data, if you have data, you can go build the case at it, right? They might be saying, hey, this is, let's take, they might be saying about the time, hey, we don't have time to do it. So it's always the progressive approach, right? Right? What you think also now, always, this is what at least I tell my team, give what they need, also do what you think is right, right? Think it like a doctor, right? When somebody come to us, I can only tell people, hey, hey, you need to get open heart surgery. That the other person might have different constraint, might be a money problem, might be a different constraints, right? But let's take today, they might go away, but they realize the severity of situation and they come back later. That is the reason you need to show both of them. As I said, it's a marathon. It will not change overnight, but you need to be very ready, say that, hey, I already showed you this, right? Because if you're not driving value for users, you're not building those experiences, always it will come back, right? Then you are ready with what you
Th- Thank you, Kantamneni.
have. Shimran?
Hey, Kalyan, thank you for this amazing session. So I have like 3 questions. The first one is, could you, in like 5 lines, sort of summarize what this entire process that you had implemented was like as a takeaway? That is question 1. Maybe you can take that and then I'll ask the next question, or would you like me to ask you all 3?
Cool. I think I can take it one by one.
Kalyan, make him ask all his 3 questions. Otherwise, he'll ask 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay,
also.
I'll keep it with 3. So that's first. Second one is, in the starting of this presentation, you mentioned about how people have difficulties with regard to speaking to their stakeholders and stuff, right? So there are, now in your case, you had numbers to speak and etc. And you know, they had that willingness to listen. But what if they didn't? And in a situation, and most of us probably faced that. So in a situation like that, what advice?
Or UX practitioner. So as a practitioners, this is how I tell my team, hey, be like doctors, right? Where you're saying, hey, if somebody have certain pain, they come to you, you recommend things with data. Same thing, when you go to doctor diagnose you and say, hey, this is the approach, right? And then if you take it, well and good. If you not, you try it again. There's until a threshold that you try to communicate to people, or again, they will only come back because the whatever the solution that we are going with is not working. Because users, there's also customer feedback cycles that will come to you, right? Because for us, there's some of the clients, we always did as a iterative process, right? Some things they have, again, same thing, right? Think this as an example. A lot of PMs have, hey, we have deadline, whatever. Always give what they want, because same thing, right? If somebody got a heart attack, you can't wait until, okay, I will do open heart surgery. You need to give them injection first, so that they will be on your side. Okay. Right? But you still tell them, hey, this is what it is. We feel there's a better way of doing it. I know there's a time constraint, but try to pitch them how you can handle that, or how you can implement it later point. Right? Again, as I said, it's an iterative process. Even some clients come to us with a similar way. That's what we do. We try to say that, okay, whatever that will deliver value for them today, we'll give it. But we'll also tell them, recommend them, say that, hey, this is how you need to do. If not, and we waited. We'll wait on the sideline.
So we have one last one, Achyut. Then we have to end the call because we are already running way over. So Achyut, if you want to go ahead and ask your question.
So thank you. So,
And
Kalyan,
FYI, Simran, when you come here, you will obviously get to meet Kalyan. So you can ask a lot more questions in person.
So when are, okay, I don't know when is coming.
Don't worry, we will figure it out.
Okay.
So I had a kind of a little question. First of all, thank you, Kalyan. Thanks a lot for this session. So I see that these days in the, the kind of the market economy that we are in, usually before businesses thrived on creating solutions for problems that users were facing. But right now, kind of, I see that there is more like they are providing more solutions than needed. Like not in a negative way, it might not necessarily be negative. Like for example, with iPad or iPod of Apple, nobody really imagines something like that. So in a scenario like that also, is it like solving a user problem, or can such scenarios also be considered solving users problem, or is it just plain innovation for the sake of human thirst to create and thrive?
I think there's a multiple things, right? Again, there's a two approaches. One approach is, one thing is you always start with the user problem, right? Where we try, again, when I say user problem, a lot of people, when they do user interviews, they might say something, right? But the root cause is different, right? Lot of times, a lot of times we think that, okay, this is what users said, okay, let me go and implement it, right? Same thing, if everybody, whatever Apple, whatever feedback that they got, if they go implement it, right, it would be a very different iPhone that we use, right? So I understand the root cause of the problem of the user. With, again, I saw one of the technique that Prasad is teaching in college about variabilization. We can't solve the whole hunger today, but how do you get to that detail, to the root cause, to the small point that we can get to it, and how do you solve it? Where innovation is. Right. And again, as you said, there are other companies might be doing, say that, okay, because these guys, these companies do it, I will also do it. Right. But that's what we say at UXReactor. If you're doing a UI, people will copy you and copy your things in weeks. When you do UX, people can copy you in months. But when you create transformation, experience transformation, right, it will take years for companies to copy you or come nearer to you. Again, which some of Apple's or Google, they did it in last decade. And now for your competitor to copy you, because they can't copy you because you're already ahead of the game, 2 years, 3 years. Right. So that's where we at UXReactor, bringing in that business, try to do an experience transformation. Cool.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kalyan, for the awesome session. I hope we have got a lot to learn and a lot of actionable items for us to learn, further down the line. Thank you so much for, doing this session with us, and congratulations all of you to join this and participate in this. With that, let's meet next Friday with another session.
One second. So one thing I want from all of you guys is if you could complete the survey. This is really important because what Kalyan did today is an advanced UX topic, which is how do you connect business with your design strategy. Right? And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a series of case studies and think of Kalyan's work as the first of many case studies. So do you like this style? Because as we start doing, especially for people that want to move up in their career, managers to directors, your responsibilities move from managing people to managing business, right? So a lot of ways, your responsibilities are you will have to start thinking business. And so we are trying to create a series of case studies similar to this, probably in a lot more detail, but this is just a jhalak for you guys. But, where you get to understand how to run businesses. Okay. But it is really important for us to understand what you thought about this talk, where you thought it could be improved, what data you would have wanted, what data was too much. If you could share that information as part of the survey, that will be very, very helpful for us. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great weekend.